I did promise you I was going to start doing a series of BookTube reviews of the art books that I have, and here's the first one. I've just finished reading Art Before Breakfast, which is Danny Gregory's brand new book. I got it on Amazon. The list price is $12.99 UK or $19.95 US. I think it was a little less expensive on mine. I got it on Amazon Prime. As you can see, it's not a huge book. It's more in line with some of his earlier books, which were quite small and easy to walk about with. In fact, this is a 5, and you can see it's quite comparable in size. A little bit wider, but about the same size as other than that. So while I was reading through this, I made some notes on the format. There's my journal notes. Basically, I'm going to use them to talk you through a checklist. The book is marketed as a zillion ways to be more creative no matter how busy you are. Now, a few people, when I said I was going to review Art Before Breakfast, were a bit, ooh, but art first thing in the morning, do you mean? And I think that's kind of missing the point a little bit. It's more kind of fitting art into a busy schedule. You know, it's for all those people who say, oh, I wish I could draw, but I don't have the time. You do have the time, you just have to make it. And it doesn't take as long as you think it does. The very beginning of the book, it says here, this book is for people who don't have time to read it. You don't have a second to catch your breath, to smell the roses or the coffee. Your life is getting more and more full and crazy, which is exactly why you need to add one more thing to your to-do list. Make art. So it's very much aimed at people who are really busy, they want to do it, they don't have time, and you know, here is how you can start it off and use it very simply, get started and turn it into a creative hobby and spend as much or as little time as you want on it. And that is the key to this book. It very much fits in on that scale with my philosophy for my classes, where, you know, all of my classes are aimed at 5 minutes a day. If you want to put extra time in, or you want to spend more time doing practice or whatever, then that's fine, but your minimum is 5 minutes a day in your journal. Whether you're doing the class stuff or not, you do 5 minutes a day in your journal. It's easy to find 5 minutes a day, and he goes into great depth on how you can find 5 minutes a day. One of the great things I like about this book is that there's no introduction. That is basically the introduction, and then it says, your big problem is time. I know you don't have much time, so let's get right to the point. You're about to discover that making art will make you saner and happier. You don't need to think you have talent to make beautiful art, and art can fit into the craziest, busiest, most hectic and out of control lives, even yours. It'll just take a few fun minutes a day. And, you know, like I say, then he goes into detail of a few different things that are kind of prelim. You know, what are you going to journal about? Why does art matter anyway? Art with a small a. You know, you don't have to be an artist, you can just make art. The arty effect. What happens when you say you're an artist or you start being creative? Then he's got a little bit about him. It says 1 minute about me, and actually if you read this page at a regular reading pace, it is about a minute of reading, and it's also a journal exercise, so you can write 1 minute about yourself. It's your very first journal exercise, but it's not given to you as a journal exercise. It's just, right, here's a little bit about me, now why don't you do that as well? So this all this beginning part is just, you know, various different ways to fit art in, given to you in the form of exercises. He even uses an option here called smoking an art. Did you ever smoke cigarettes? But now think of taking up drawing as a similar habit. Instead of lighting up after a meal, draw your dirty dishes. Instead of smoking in a meeting, yes, we all used to back in the day, draw your colleagues around the table. Don't have a smoke as soon as you wake up in the morning. Draw the folds in your bed sheet, the profile of your sleeping spouse, or the view through the blinds instead. So, you know, in the time it takes to smoke a cigarette, you could have drawn a drawing. So even if you know, perhaps you've given up smoking this year. I know a lot of people who have, and you know, you're getting into April now and you're thinking, oh yeah, but I really want a cigarette. No, you don't. Start drawing. Then he advises you on materials, and oh, I love this page. The materials you need for getting started with an art journal, and he says, shop but not till you drop. So this is kind of a prompt, but it's also how to get started. First, get yourself a sketchbook. You can probably find one in the art supply store, drugstore, or online. Buy one with decent paper that ink won't bleed through. Make it a convenient size so you can keep it with you all the time, in your bag, by your bedside, but not so small that you feel cramped. Also, get a pen that feels nice in your hand and makes good lines. Start using them. And then he's drawn a picture of a credit card. Yeah, and that is basically an art journal prompt in itself. It's an example of an art journal prompt. It is an art journal prompt, and it's practical because it's just saying, look, just get a sketchbook and a pen. Don't get caught up in the whole, oh, but what type of sketchbook? Oh, what type of pen? Oh. Just get a nice pen that you like writing with. It goes on like that for a little while, and then you've got a week of lessons. So this is a little more structured drawing, but it's really not structured drawing. It's specific art techniques disguised as fun exercises, basically. Monday's lesson is a contour drawing. It's just an outline. You're just looking at the shapes. Tuesday's lesson is filling in the bits between the shapes. That's negative space. Wednesday's lesson is looking at the ratio of different things on the page. So, you know, it's very, very simple, and all of these lessons are like 15 minutes. They're not even difficult. Then you have brief kind of review and adjustment section. So, you know, what's going okay, what isn't, you've done a week, how are you feeling, kind of stuff. Then you have the rules, and I love this. Rule 1, ignore all the rules. Yes. Oh, and that's it. That's the section on the rules. And then you get into more kind of detailed exercises where you're basically just doing the same thing, but in a bit more detail. So that's a loaf of bread. And you know, you draw a tree and a hen and doing it in different colours and things like that, and that carries on for a little while, and it's very subtly teaching you new techniques without teaching you techniques. So it's not like, right, now today we're going to learn how to cross hatch. It's like, no, here you go, this is what we're going to do. Just put some lines here to show this bit of shadow. Just put some lines there. Oh, do you need to make that one darker? Well, do some more lines, but do them in a different direction, you know. Oh, and by the way, that's called cross hatching. So it's really art for non-artists, which all of Danny Gregory's books are. The techniques section is the halfway point, and then you get things that are more journal prompts, but ideas for how to bring more art into your life. So how to make art at a museum, how to make art in a cafe, how to use compass points to create a 360 drawing of your desk, you know, what to do in an airport, what kind of things to look for in an airport, all that kind of stuff. Lots and lots and lots of that. And then we get to, oh look, let's start some new materials. So you've gone through like over half the book before he suddenly says, oh, have you got any colour pencils lying around? Perhaps we could try colouring in. We've got some watercolours. Oh, we could do a 15-minute watercolour session as well. How about that? So your 5 minutes of drawing suddenly becomes 15 minutes of something a bit more, because you've learnt to draw, or you've got more comfortable with drawing, so your 5 minutes doesn't take as long, so you've got more time. And as you learn, you get quicker, obviously. So, you know, anybody can find 15 minutes a day to do something. You may not finish that particular picture, but you're not supposed to be so honed in on it that you're trying to create a perfect image of the picture of what you see. You're just, you know, you're just drawing a pencil. A pencil is a pencil, you know. It's not wonderful art, but it's a pencil. You get some more group orientated stuff, like how to involve friends, how to draw somebody else, how to organise a sketch crawl or a post-it party where you know, what a great party game. You have a picture that's cut up into pieces and you have one square and a post-it note and you have to copy what's in the square, and then you put it all together and you end up with a picture at the end and say, yeah, look, we can all draw. What a fun thing to do. Have a portrait party where everybody draws each other, even the kids. So all of that is just really cool. It's just teaching you to loosen up and experiment and try different things. And then you get to the whole inner critic thing, you know, where you're like, oh yeah, but I'm still not very good, am I? And you're like, well, I don't care. As long as it's recognisable as a hippo, who cares? It looks like a hippo, that'll do. It's close enough. Then it's got just odd bits of advice at the back. So this one is about drawing landscapes but forgetting to put people in, and how to remember to put people in, or how to put people into pictures if there's lots of people moving around, you know. How to draw something unexpected. How to draw at the zoo. Too cold to go outside and draw. How to draw from magazines or draw on magazines. Telling a story, using a storyboard, you know, just simple little things. How to draw like a child. Who doesn't love drawing like a child? So all of that's in there, and like I say, it's very much aimed at the people who want to be creative, but they have every excuse under the sun. You don't have any excuse, you have time, you don't need lots of supplies, you don't need lots of talent, you just have to want to do it. And if you want to do it enough, you'll find 5 minutes a day to do it. Draw what's on TV. That's one of his suggestions. If you desperately have to watch something on TV and that's why you don't have time to draw what you're watching on TV. Draw one of the characters. Draw the TV set you're looking at. You don't have to make great art to make art, is his point. So in that sense, it's a fabulous book. Really enjoyed it. I am a big fan of Danny Gregory anyway, and I would highly recommend this for anybody who is in that category of, I would make art, but. The bad bits. I have to say, I was a bit disappointed. I'm sorry, Danny. I love you. I love your work. But to me, this feels like a quick rewrite of the creative license. If you already have the creative license, don't bother with this. It's got some of the same pictures in it. And, you know, honestly, yes, in your own journals, you're going to repeatedly draw your own dogs. You're going to repeatedly draw your own bathroom cabinet. You're going to repeatedly draw your own lounge. But do we really need to see the same picture again of the same cabinet that we saw in a previous book yet again? You know, for me, it feels to me like the book was written and then it had to be illustrated, but there wasn't time before the deadline, so they pulled illustrations from other places. It very much has a feel of seen this before, seen that before, done this before, seen that before. So for middling ground fans of Danny Gregory, if you're not sure whether you to get this book or the creative license, I would go for the creative license. If you've already got the creative license and you want something with a bit more meat on it, this isn't it. It's a rehash of the creative license, basically. I would go for something like The Illustrated Life or The Illustrated Journey or Everyday Matters, one of his other books that has fresher content. But if you're a beginner, you've never had a Danny Gregory book before, this is great. If you are a hardened fan of Danny Gregory and you're going to buy his book anyway, this is great. So it's really only if you're in that kind of middle ground where you've been introduced to it but you've not gone any further. This is another beginner's book, which doesn't mean it's a bad book in any way. I absolutely love it. And in fact, there's even as a professional artist, there's some bits and pieces in that I looked at it and went, wow, look at that, that's cool, I might try that. So, you know, you're always going to get something out of it. But if you're on a budget and you're not sure, maybe leave this one for later and get another one. Like, I mean, personally, I would go for Everyday Matters or The Creative License, which are a lot meatier. But if you are in that category that this is aimed for, of people who basically have every excuse under the sun why they're not drawing, then this is the book for you. I've shown you a few pages as we've gone through, and you know, as you can see, it's heavily illustrated by Danny, as always. All of his stuff looks like it's come straight out of his journal, which is what appeals to me about it. Anyway, enough waffling. That is my view of Art Before Breakfast by Danny Gregory. I will leave links below to where you can find this book on amazon.co.uk. It's also available on amazon.com, and I will leave a link to Danny's website down below as well if you want to go and check him out. He does some great videos and some great blog posts on how to be a bit more arty in your life without lots of pressure of becoming an artist. So I hope you have fun, and please, if you are thinking of taking up drawing, or you've been wanting to but you have lots of excuses, no more excuses, go and do it. Pen, sketchbook, get drawing.